अभी मैंने म्यूट किया, पहले नहीं। हम किसी साउंड लगाए होते हैं, किसी के पास बच्चे होते हैं, किसी के पास कैलकुलेटर।
हाँ नहीं वो काफी hello students, today's topic is multiple myeloma. So first of all, we will come to know what is the definition of multiple myeloma and what is exactly multiple myeloma. So according to the definition, what is multiple myeloma? Multiple myeloma is basically a malignant. It's a malignant proliferation of plasma cells. Remember, it's a malignant proliferation of plasma cells derived from a single clone involving more than 10% of the bone marrow. And the multiple myeloma cell produces monoclonal immunoglobulin that may be identified on serum or urine protein electrophoresis. Okay, at this level about monoclonal immunoglobulin, I will like to explain one thing. Okay, I would like to explain something about monoclonal immunoglobulin. Normally, immunoglobulins, these are also present in our body, but these immunoglobulins, these are polyclonal. These are not immunoglobulin. These are not monoclonal. These will be always polyclonal immunoglobulins. So, in this case of multiple myeloma, monoclonal immunoglobulins that may be identified on serum or urine protein electrophoresis, this will be present in our body. So as a result, tumor or its products and the patients, they respond to it, and they will result in a number of organ dysfunctions. Basically, they will affect all the organs. The main organs that are affected, they will be fracture or bone pain, and there will be renal failure. They can be susceptibility to infections, different infections, and there can be also anemia and hypercalcemia, clotting abnormalities. There can be neurological symptoms and vascular manifestations of hyperviscosity. So next there is what is the etiology. Basically, behind the etiology, the exact cause is not known still, but more commonly than expected among these are basically lower socioeconomic class and farmers, and it can also occur in farmers because due to the DDT exposure in these farmers. And it can also be in wood workers, leather workers, sheet metal workers, nuclear industry workers, and those exposed to petroleum products like benzene. So next is what is the incidence of this multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma, it increases with the age, so it can be from 45 to up to 60 years, and male to female ratio, it is slightly more common in males, but it can be equally in both genders. And it accounts for about 1% of all malignancies in whites and 13% of all metallurgic cancers in whites. So what is the pathophysiology of this multiple myeloma? The pathological and clinical features of myeloma, they are basically due to three important things. Number one, there is it is due to the tissue infiltration. Second, production of large amount of paraproteins. These are abnormal proteins. These are not normal proteins. So basically, there is production of large amount of paraproteins and impairment of immunity. So let us explain these three things. Number one, there is bone infiltration. Okay, in bone infiltration, there is destruction of medullary and cortical bone due to the stimulation of osteoclast activity by a factor released by the myeloma cells. So usually these are designated osteoclastic activity factor, and this leads to osteoporosis and more frequently to localized lytic lesions and pathological fractures. Second thing, there is skeletal destruction. Skeletal destruction, it mainly results in the release of bone salts, negative calcium balance, and hypercalciuria in virtually all cases. And the third thing, that is hypercalciuria. Hypercalciuria, it will lead to the osmotic dysbiosis and impairment of the renal tubular reabsorption, and then it will lead to the dehydration and diminished urine output and hypocalcemia and azotemia. Okay, then it will be result in the anorexia, nausea, vomiting, and further dehydration. Okay, there is a production of large amount of paraprotein that results in a wide variety of abnormalities such as raised serum globulin level, hypoalbuminemia, hyponatremia, dilutional anemia, raised DSR, Rulix, formation in blood film, and there can be hyperviscosity and interference with the platelet functions and coagulation pathway. So proteinuria, renal failure, amyloidosis, it occurs in 10% of all the patients, and cryoglobulinemia in 5% patients. Okay, next there is monoclonal multiple myeloma. Self clone produces an excess of, as I already told you, there will be excess production of monoclonal immunoglobulins that are non-functional. These are not normal functioning, and they are called paraproteins or M proteins. We also call them M proteins, and these are recognized as IgA, IgD, IgE, IgG, or IgM, and depending on their heavy chain class. So normally immunoglobulins, they are polyclonal, but in case of multiple myeloma, there is excessive production of monoclonal immunoglobulins. They are not functioning proper. They are not non-functional. Okay, and so they are responsible for the hyperviscosity syndrome, which interferes with the fibrin aggregation and platelet function. And there is incomplete immunoglobulins as free light chain proteins. These light chain proteins, these are called kappa or lambda. In 75% of cases, these are also called Bence-Jones proteins. Okay, this will lead to the precipitation and deposition, and they will produce a organ damage. Most commonly organs they are damaged, they are kidneys. So these incomplete are these free light chain proteins, they will be secreted in urine. So 1% of multiple myeloma, they are called non-secretors because they do not produce any abnormal immunoglobulins. So next there is pathogenesis and clinical manifestations of multiple myeloma. So we will see what are the clinical findings and what is the underlying cause and what is the pathogenic mechanism. So first of all, we will see there is hypercalcemia. Hypercalcemia, the underlying cause will be, there will be skeletal destruction. Skeletal destruction, so it will release more calcium into the blood and it will result into hypercalcemia. And the pathogenic mechanism will be, it occurs due to the tumor expansion, obviously. And the second thing is there is pathological fractures and cord compression, lytic bone lesions, osteoporosis, and bone pains. So in case of pathological factors, there will be pathogenic mechanism will be, there will be production of osteoclast activity factors by the tumor cells. Okay, the next finding first was hypercalcemia, as I have already told you. Second, there can be renal failure. Renal failure, the underlying cause will be light chain proteinuria, and it will cause hypercalcemia and urate nephropathy. So the mechanism will be, there is a toxic effects of tumor products, and they can be light chains in case of hypercalcemia, and there will be DNA breakdown products, and there can be infections. Underlying cause will be pyelonephritis, and the pathogenic mechanism involved, it will be hypogammaglobulinemia. Next is clinical manifestations of multiple myeloma. So clinical manifestations, these are very, very important. Though according to these clinical manifestations, you can identify the case of multiple myeloma. Okay, the most common clinical manifestations, these will be pain in the lower back, long bones or rib, and there will be generalized malaise, infections, fever, and bleeding. And there will be also symptoms of hypercalcemia. Hypercalcemia की how will they be presented? The symptoms of hypercalcemia. There will be nausea, fatigue, and thirst. And what can be the symptoms of hyperviscosity in the case of multiple myeloma? If there is a hyperviscosity syndrome, the patient will have bruising on the body around different body parts, and there can be headaches, ischemic neurological symptoms, and there can be other neurological symptoms like there can be peripheral neuropathy and meningitis. So the next thing is bone pain. Most common symptom affecting 70% of all the patients. Bone pain, they will complain of bone pains. So it will be involve the back, ribs, long bone, skull, and pelvis, and precipitated by movements. Unlike the pain of metastatic carcinoma, which often is worse at night, but in case of multiple myeloma, the pain will be more on the movements. So if persistent and localized usually signifies a pathological factor. This is a picture showing X-ray of skull, and this is X-ray of skull and long bone. So recurrent infections, they are the presenting features in 25% of cases. So what will be the most infections? They are pneumonias by Streptococcus pneumoniae, Staphylococcus aureus, and Klebsiella pneumoniae. And there can be pyelonephritis by E. coli and other gram-negative organisms. So next there is what is the pathological and clinical manifestations, especially renal failure and pathology. So renal failure, it occurs in nearly about 25% cases, and some renal pathology is noted in more than 50% cases. And the factors contributing to renal dysfunction, these are: number one, the most important, this is hypercalcemia. Hypercalcemia, more common cause of renal failure. Remember, hypercalcemia in this patient, it will cause a renal failure. The second thing, there will be glomerular deposits of myeloid, and hypercalcemia, recurrent infections, infiltration of kidney by myeloma cells, and tubular damage associated with the excretion of light chains. Okay, and in this patient there will be also anemia. Anemia, it occurs in 80% of myeloma patients. What are the types of this anemia? Okay, then usually the anemia, it will be normocytic and normochromic. It means that their shape and size, it will be normal. They will be not microcytic or macrocytic or hypochromic. There will be anemia, but it will be normocytic, normochromic. But it can be megaloblastic due to either folic acid deficiency or due to vitamin B12 deficiency. So due to replacement of normal marrow by expanding tumor cells, there is inhibition of hematopoiesis by factors made by the tumor, and there can be some mild hemolysis. This is a picture, so it shows a myeloid deposition in the tongue of a multiple myeloma patient. Okay, the next important thing is, this is very, very important. You have to remember how will you make the diagnosis in these patients. So 30% of new cases, they are diagnosed incidentally during evaluation for seemingly unrelated problems. I mean, it means there can be some other problem, but the patient has some test in the laboratory and it will be diagnosed at this level. But in 30%, a pathological factor is the presenting feature. There will be, if the patient has some left Fs, he will be having hypercalcemia. Okay, then there will be also history of some fracture. Then you can advise for further workup, and it will be diagnosed as multiple myeloma patients. So in 25% of patients, recurrent infections, they are the presenting features. So these can be the three possibilities for the diagnosis. And for the making the diagnosis, the classical triad of myeloma. The classical triad means three important things. It will be number one, there will be marrow plasma cytosis in more than 10%. Marrow plasma cytosis more than 10%. It means the bone marrow will contain plasma cells in the bone marrow, And these plasma cells will be, if these are more than 10%, then it will be diagnostic for this multiple myeloma. And the second thing will be lytic bone lesions. These will be diagnosed with the help of X-ray of long bones and skull. And the third thing, there will be serum and urine M component, or the presence of M proteins in serum and urine. So these three things, these are very important for making the diagnosis. So the diagnosis may be made in the absence of bone lesions if the plasmacytosis is associated with the progressive increase in the M component over time, or if extramedullary mass lesions develop. So confirmation of one major and one minor criteria, or three minor criteria in symptomatic patients. This is very important, and there should be one major and one minor or three minor criteria for the multiple myeloma patients. Major diagnostic criteria: there will be biopsy proven plasmacytoma and bone marrow sample. On the bone marrow sample, there will be 30% plasma cells, and there will be elevated monoclonal immunoglobulin levels in blood or urine. Okay. In minor diagnostic criteria, what are the different things? These will be there will be bone marrow sample. If we take a bone marrow sample, it will contain the 10% to 30% plasma cells and minor monoclonal immunoglobulin levels in blood or urine, and their level should be less than 3 gram per deciliter. And the third thing is there can be osteopenia or lytic bone lesions, and these are confirmed through imaging studies. And there can be abnormally low antibody levels not associated with the malignant cells in the blood. So this is a picture of multiple myeloma, and this is a picture of bone marrow aspirate. It demonstrates plasma cells of multiple myeloma. Okay, in how will you identify the multiple myeloma? If it is present in peripheral blood smear or in bone marrow. In multiple myeloma cells, you can see there is a cytoplasm in blue color and nucleus in dark purple color. So the nucleus will be not in the center. In plasma cells, always remember the nucleus is on one side. It is not centrally located. So these are identified as plasma cells. This is also a picture of bone marrow biopsy, and it has sheets of malignant plasma cells in multiple myeloma patients. It is in the form of some sheets. So how will you do the clinical evaluation in these patients? So careful physical examination is very important. On physical examination, you will see the tender bones and masses, and there can be enlargement of the spleen and lymph nodes, the physiological sites of antibody production, and there can be exudative macular detachment, retinal hemorrhage, or cotton wool spots in these patients. And there will be amyloid deposition on the tongue causing macroglossia, cardiomegaly related to deposition of immunoglobulin, and there will be positive renal sign, Helen sign for carpal tunnel compression due to the amyloid deposition. So this is the physical examination that we done for the clinical evaluation. And second thing that can be done, this is imaging. Imaging of chest and bone radiographs. Imaging we will do to see the lytic lesions or diffuse osteopenia, and we can also do some MRI. So to depict the myeloma tumors, to document cord or root compression in patients with pain syndrome, and to assess the efficacy of therapy. So the next evaluation that we can do in the laboratory, these are blood study. We will send the sample of blood to see the different things. First of all, we will do the CBC. So CBC means complete blood count. In CBC, what will you see? There will be anemia. Anemia, it will be normocytic normochromic, and there can be pancytopenia. Pancytopenia means there will be HB will be also low, WBC count will be also low, and platelet count will also. This is called pancytopenia. Okay, then on CBC, there can be only anemia, but there can also be some overall pancytopenia. So the ESR, erythrocyte sedimentation rate, it will be always elevated in these patients, and we can also do some other blood levels, and then we will see there will be we will do the calcium, blood urate, nitrogen level, and uric acid levels. These will be all elevated, as you have already seen. There is a hypercalcemia in these patients, but there can also be elevated uric acid levels in these patients. And serum alkaline phosphatase is usually normal due to the absence of osteoblastic activity, and there can be hypoalbuminemia. So these are the laboratory tests in these patients. Okay, if you are suspecting a case of multiple myeloma, then what will you do to confirm the diagnosis of this patient? If you are suspecting a case of multiple myeloma, the most important are the most diagnostic thing. This is very important, and this is also a special test that we send for the, this is monoclonal gammopathies, and we do the some serum protein electrophoresis. We will send the sample of a patient for serum protein electrophoresis. What will we see in serum electrophoresis? In monoclonal gammopathies and myeloma, the single clone of plasma cells, they produce a homogeneous monoclonal immunoglobulins. So these are M proteins, and on serum protein electrophoresis, you will see M proteins. So M protein, these are characterized by the presence of a sharp, well-defined band with a single heavy chain and a similar band with a capta or lambda light chains. So the M protein is identified as a narrow peak or spike in the beta aura 2 region, as you can see in this picture. Green color is indicating the normal, while the red color is indicating the multiple myeloma. So you can see in green there is a normal, and the red color, it is indicating the multiple myeloma or the M proteins that will be show a spike in when we do the serum protein electrophoresis. It will show the a spike or a peak in M protein. So when will you order? You will order for the serum protein electrophoresis to see the M protein. This is a diagnostic test. Okay, so again, this is also a serum protein electrophoresis, shows the appearance of a monoclonal band in the G region. So at the time of diagnosis, the peripheral blood film of a patient with multiple myeloma, it will typically show greater than 10% plasma cells, marked lymphocytosis, neutrophilia, and Reuleaux formation. A patient is suspected to have multiple myeloma, serum protein electrophoresis appear to be normal. The laboratory should examine the urine for, then you will order to examine the urine for light chain immunoglobulins, and then repeat the serum protein electrophoresis and measure the plasma viscosity and perform an erythrocyte sedimentation rate. So these are the further tests that will you order. A patient's bone marrow is found to have increased numbers of plasma cells, plasmacytoid lymphocytes, and mast cells. The patient's serum most likely has a M protein composed of immunoglobulin A, immunoglobulin M, immunoglobulin G, and heavy chain. The abnormal protein frequently found in the urine of persons with multiple myeloma is albumin, immunoglobulin M, immunoglobulin G, and Bence-Jones proteins. So remember Bence-Jones protein, this will be seen in blood and urine both. So what are the novel therapies? What is the treatment that we can use in these patients? So simply you have to just remember, you don't need to remember any medicine for the treatment, but I will just tell you. The commonly medicines these are used, these are bortezomib and thalidomide and analog, these can be used, and some other medicines. So at your level, you just need to remember the what are the clinical manifestations and what are the signs and symptoms that patient will be presented, and what is the, how will you make the diagnosis. So you have to just remember the important investigations that will be used to identify a patient of multiple myeloma. And also the important thing that I have also told you, this is serum protein electrophoresis. This is the diagnostic test and the important test. It is used for multiple myeloma patients to show the M proteins in these patients. So these are the important things you have to remember. Okay, thank you. If you have any query or question, you can ask on our WhatsApp group.